It's happening again. Floods on every continent, record level, farmlands destroyed, volcanoes erupting, strange phenomenon across the skies. What's happening? Why is this upticking again at this particular time? When they talk about a pole shift and this mile high wave coming in, it would look something very similar to this. Aircraft couldn't even outrun it. How terrifying. Our world will be never the same again. Would we remember is the question. Starting on Bali, Denpasar, not a place you would think there would be floods. Generally, things roll downhill into the sea, but it looks like this devastation is going to dent into the tourist season. Now, watching your cars float away, that much water is coming down in this area. It wasn't a typhoon, unusual rains hitting. But whatever nature is thrown, it's overwhelmed through the markets, through the streets, the hotels, everywhere you look. It is beyond what anybody has experienced before in terms of flooding. And I'm wondering where all this water is coming from. You know, you're looking at the volcano coming down and then you get to the beaches. So what is happening? At the same time, Mount Merapi kicking it off, West Sumatra, an enormous amount of volcanoes are suddenly starting to erupt across the planet. And then if we jump over to India, Uttarakhand, and we go to the Chambi River, look at the temple underwater. The amount of rainfall coming down off of this area, again, Indus Valley, and that's a street, not a river. You can see how inundated these areas are becoming. The pattern has definitely shifted here. And if we do go back to the Indus Valley, and I love ancient history. So if we look at these cradles of civilization from Mesopotamia, Indus Valley, which means at one time this area was very wet, multiple rivers, streams, estuaries for an enormous amount of vegetation to grow. In turn, that web ecosystem of life was able to expand and us in it. Well, the dryness reversed itself to what we see today. It's near desert or semi-arid in many, many places where it used to be forests. Well, if we're talking on a multi-thousand-year cycle shifting and returning again, the first signs you would look for are tremendous rainfalls returning to areas in the deserts. They're not ready for this. We have measured our precipitation by just hundreds of years or 100 years as a maximum when we do our engineering projects. Now bring something back where we're going to get a 50-fold increase in that. We're going to have to re-engineer quite a bit, and an enormous amount that would be flooded away, lost, or just underwater from now as new precipitation patterns form in, new drainage basins refill. There's cities and towns there now. So what do? The same thing's happening in Africa. So you can't tell me like multiple places on the planet that were deserts are now refilling and starting to be inundated with massive once in thousands of year floods. It's fitting. It's that band across the planet that dried out when we, as a civilization, arose out of these areas. Over to Sichuan province, this is Guangyuan. Again, China masters at the engineering levels of all things water project thousands of years ago into today, understanding how flow mechanics work when you're building into cities of tens or 20s of millions of people. A 2025 survey found that over half of U.S. adults are concerned about how fast their skin is aging, and 40% fixate on random wrinkles or dark spots. If that sounds like you, you're not alone. More and more people are noticing visible changes in their skin earlier than expected. This is why I use the anti-aging collagen secret weapon. It provides my skin with 5 must-have types of collagen needed to reduce wrinkles. And since taking it, I've experienced smoother skin and more elasticity. Plus, it mixes smoothly with my morning coffee or tea. No taste, no clumps. Be sure to grab a bag of ageless multi-collagen now that it's 51% off only at healthwithadapt2030.com and help take years off the clock. Plus, by ordering now, you're also guaranteed to get the free ebook titled The 14 Foods for Amazing Skin, a 60-day satisfaction guarantee and free shipping. Once again, that's healthwithadapt2030.com. Click on that link in the description box below. This is Luohe in Henan province. Dangerous to be going under a bridge like this. I would be terrified to be under there. What if there's a sudden surge of water? Please be careful if you're going to do something like this. Streets inundated, and everywhere you look, it's just tremendous. Is Suchang in Huanan. Again, it's just streets. And that even went way out into the countryside. What are we looking at? Entire cities deluged here. These are croplands. These are crop growing vicinities. So not only as we take a look at other areas across the world that are being flooded, where crop planting in South America is going to be tremendously delayed. Now we're looking at coming into maturation and harvest season right now. And all these areas across central China over toward the eastern Yangtze River Delta and the Yellow River, that sort of thing, that floodplain that comes out where it's really verdant. That's why their grow zone is there, like ours is in the Midwest. These are the same places that are being flooded. So crop yields down, China, and then moving over to Pakistan. I've definitely covered this with the floods in India and just tremendous floods in Pakistan. This was the final. And, you know, as I was doing the report, the water was coming from Lahore and traveling south down to Pirwala, where these rivers converge. And along these rivers, of course, are crops, farmland, and their yields are going to be devastated. A huge amount of crops are grown in these areas. They're using a bunch of levees, and, you know, that old Zeppelin song, when the levee breaks, almost all the levees broke in Pakistan. Over to Bismarck, North Dakota. Right. I'm not used to that. But speaking of all things water, let's take a look here. This was September 8th. I know it's about a week ago, but the water temperature is 65 Fahrenheit in Lake Michigan. And then look, 29 Fahrenheit. This is weeks ago. So whatever was in the fields, again, they would be damaged at harvest. Let's say there's a hard freeze all along these areas where, well, we're into the grow belts of corn and soy, and then go out west even further, and they're into the hard freezes or extremely hard frosts sweeping through predominantly what would be our major grow belts. So our harvests are also going to be affected in terms of yield. But jumping down to South America, this is a big one here. Argentina, around Buenos Aires, mainly the target area here of the study. But again, water flows across borders. It's not specific. Okay, it's stopping because there's an artificial line on. No, water goes where water goes. Carbop, this is the area here. So we're talking about hectares. The conversion to acres is approximately 2.4 acres for 1 hectare. So if it's 2 million hectares, 2 times 2.4 is 4.8 million, almost 5 million acres of flooded farmland. Now they're just getting ready to go into the plant here, where we in the Northern Hemisphere are coming into our harvest. So both places, doesn't matter, Northern, Southern Hemisphere, everywhere is being inundated by water at the moment. And, you know, this same images keep coming again and again and again. Like, do you get machinery in there? I don't think you do. The water keeps just flowing everywhere that they are going to plant. Great for vegetation if you're cattle farming, if you're ranching out there, you're going to get an enormous amount of grasses this year. Great, but the wildfire risk is also heavy. Now, speaking of that, the western part of the United States, incredibly dry. So if we're looking at the drought map here, this is from September 9th. They'll put another one out here. Coming up, I think tomorrow, the September 9th valid date on the dry map here. And then if we look further, just back about 2 weeks ago up in Maritimes, Canada, you got exceptional and extreme drought up there. So you see it's hit or miss where the droughts are. The floods seem to be everywhere, and food prices continually going up. It's like we're at the watering bowl of change, seismic activity, volcanic activity, and mega floods across the planet. So as we move forward through the next couple of months here, we're going to have this comet approach us, this 3-eye atlas. There's a newly discovered comet, Swan, that's just supposedly they're going to cross in the sky visually, but nothing remotely close to contacting each other. We got 2 will be naked eye comets in our sky come around October-ish. 3-eye atlas is going to pass close to Mars on the Day of Atonement here, I think October 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And then as we move forward toward Christmas time, that same comet is going to pass the Earth right around Christmas. I think it's the 22nd, 23rd. All of these things are going on. There's talk of all types of, alien technologies, and we want to reset the economy and the weather and all these, the seismic activity, volcanics. and precipitation just being thrown into the wind here. We are at massive change at this moment. So it makes a lot of sense why our society is being bent by power controllers, because they understand the cycles are back here too. And there's, some things that could be salvaged, others can't be. So you can already see the things to previous cycles that couldn't be salvaged that are now being retooled or redrawn, for a better term. So look at just the general scope of everything from the economy to food to population, technology, and everything in between. So you can see the things that are being pushed the most to change artificially right now. It's like you're being kicked to change. Those are the things, at least through the research I've done through the past, 6 cycles, taking us back to 2,400 years prior on these at least grand solar minimum cycles. Things cannot hold through. They just generally fall apart when the food production drops out. It gets so expensive. People migrate around looking for better opportunities economically. Also, the food, you're not able to afford it, so things are pulled away. And just the mechanics of the way the world operates when food is the most expensive thing in your life versus energy. And then if food accelerates and energy accelerates, then you're at the point of people will just get angry. So this has happened again and again and again through history. So I would just challenge you to look around the world and see which things are being artificially changed at the moment. And you can see it. It's so fake. Nothing's organic on the change. Where does that take us from now is the question. And you can see that something inbound magnificently large is here, or else they wouldn't make and go to so much trouble to try to give you the illusion that things are okay. It must be a massive event that they're preparing for to give themselves a little extra time to get ready for this event while bringing you along with the carrot and stick that everything's okay. Just put that in your thinking quiver for the day as you wander about your existence, whatever that might be. So anyway, I appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Ransom Godwin and myself talk about this every Thursday night, 10 p.m. to midnight, 2 hours at a time. You can drop in on the comments. We try to answer those. And also Prodovite Plus, 1-pack, 100 nutrients, no wasted time, no wasted nutrition, maximum absorption. Head over to vni.life/civilization. Actually, click on that link in the description box below. It'll take you right to that page. And every purchase you make helps keep this broadcast on air. And thank you so much for your valuable time. Share with your friends, family. Click that subscribe button. Remember to do the bell because a lot of people keep getting dropped off and like, hey, I subscribe, but I'm not anymore. All those things, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.